Bismillah Rahman Rahim. I welcome all of you on this occasion of our presentation organized by IEP for ISO 9001 2026, which is upcoming standard. I'm really thankful to IEP to give this opportunity to give this presentation. Although I am a part of the IEP and I have conducted 2 years back a seminar actually in Riyadh on sustainability as well. So I'm really thankful to all the committee members. Let's start the presentation. All the introduction already done, so I will directly jump into the presentation now. Most of you are already aware of the ISO 9001 standard, and this standard has to be revised after a couple of years, mostly from a time period of 5 to 10 years. And recently, this ISO 9001 2026 FDIS standard has released, and the real standard will be coming most probably in September to December time. So it is the right time to see that what changes are coming and why it matters to discuss right now to prepare ourselves who are already in compliance with the ISO 9001 standard. So this guide which I will be giving you today, we will walk through with a certain major cross changes which are coming and what are those things which are to be considered, like risk-based thinking, leadership, quality culture, and continual improvement. Before that, I will just go through with the revision history that ISO 9001, the first standard came in 1987. Although it came like after 40 years of the inception of ISO standards, because ISO standard came in 1947. So 1987, the ISO 9001 first standard came, which was revised in 1994, then 2000, 2008, and the last standard, which is in implementation, is 2015, which will be revised in 2026. So let's go through with the major changes. I will go through with certain clauses which has to be revised, starting from clause number 4, because clause 1 to 3 are general clauses. We'll not discuss those items. In clause number 4, the context of the organization, which basically talks about that what organization is all about, what is history, what is in which business they are. So in that particular context, the harmonized structure is being taken out with all other standard like 14,000 and 45,000 as well. And they are now talking about some climate change as a relevant external issue. It doesn't mean that we have to implement ISO 14,000, but they are talking about the climate change impact. So we will discuss more into other clauses also. And also they are talking about stronger requirement for evaluate relevant interested parties regarding environmental and sustainability expectations. We all know that this is the era of AI and sustainability. So that's how ISO 9000 also talking about these two subjects and this new standard. So in the context of the organization, they are asking about the environmental interested parties also. Clause number 5 is talking about leadership. We all know about that leadership is the most important element in any organization or any country or any standard we talk about. So they are talking in such a way that they are giving more emphasis on the leadership, and they're talking about a quality culture, which was, although it was discussed in the last standard as well, but now in the new standard, they are talking about more emphasis precise now. And the responsibility and accountability of the leadership has been increased. And there will be a clear expectation of the integration of the business strategy, like what the leadership is talking about, their business strategy. It should align with the quality culture of the organization as well. And also it should see and reflected into the ISO 9000 standard on which the companies are working. Previously, these clauses which were implemented in previous standard, the new standard requirement are high. So those people, most of you are already working in those companies where ISO 9000 are already implemented. But you have to see now that the new standard is talking about much more requirements and much more responsibility of the leadership. Similarly, in the planning part, although the risk and opportunity was discussed, mostly the risk sector was discussed in the last standard, but now they are talking about opportunity as well, which you have to identify in your business more clearly that how business opportunity is coming into play with your business strategy also. And your quality objectives also should be aligned with your strategic direction, which means that whatever your strategy is, it should be aligned and should reflect in your quality objectives. Because previously the quality objectives was looks like to be a lone document side by side now. But now this is in the new standard, they're talking about that it should be reflected as your strategic direction as well. This means that you need to have your quality objective more clearer, more specific, and more time bounded in the sense that it should consider the resilience of the organization, which is also talking about some business continuity elements, which also reflects something regarding sustainability also about the organization and about the processes in which the company is involved. In support function clause number 7, the organizational knowledge, they are focusing on the organizational knowledge which is available at any type, any shape, whether it's in a hard copy or a soft copy or on a website, wherever it is. Many organizations have their own learning management systems, or they are providing their own training programs, and also about their technical knowledge about their companies as well. So the recognition of the digital system and data integrity is also being quite inserted into the new standard. It doesn't mean that they're talking about the ISO 27000 here, but the digital systems with regard to AI implementation in the systems, it's also been addressed in the new standard. And they are talking about more competence requirements. Previously, it was just about the responsibilities and authorities, but now they are talking about more competency requirement of the people who are being involved in the different business processes of the organization. If you are hiring, for example, a mechanical engineer, so what should be his experience, what should be his qualification, what should be his other certification requirements. So you need to identify those things in a little bit more detail. The next clause, clause number 8, which is operations. Operations cover all your process control elements, and which covers your all business processes. So the new standard is talking about more control over external provided processes as well. Those processes which are not being done inside the organization, but it's being done outside the organization, either by your subcontractor or any other company. So the supply chain resilience is more being emphasized. Those of you who are implementing API in their organization, they might be more aware of this particular requirement about supply chain, that the externally provided processes will be checked more in the new audits of the 2026. And the next change is about change management in operations. It was not discussed as much in the previous standard. Now, in case of any change management, whether it's a change of organization, change of processes, change of technology, you have to have a proper change management system, which is going through with a proper approval. With regard to the performance evaluation in clause number 9, we are talking about more data-driven decision making. We all take a lot of decisions every day. No doubt that the experience is very important to take those decisions. But at the same time, data is also very important to take our decisions, whether it's an investment decision or a simple change of shift division decision or to buy a certain item. Data is very important. So that's what the ISO 9001:2026 is asking about, that whenever you have to take any decision, you have to have certain data. And those data, if it's coming from predictive analysis by using AI, that will be more stronger, more sustainable. And also, you have to evaluate your QMS contribution toward the strategic objectives, which I already mentioned in the leadership clause, that your objective should be aligned with your business strategy. And this is what ISO 9001:2026 is asking about. And the last clause, clause number 10, regarding the improvement, which is the basic requirement of any quality management system or any other management system, basically. A continual improvement of the processes should be linked with the organizational resilience and future readiness. Again, it's talking about your sustainability of the organization. What are your strategic objectives? What are your quality objectives? And what are those proactive improvement approaches? Not only corrective approach, but also the proactive, which is coming from risk assessments and other quality improvement strategies. So these are the major changes in the standard. So now I will go through into the deep areas of the clauses which are there in the scope, reference, and definition items. Like if we talk about the clause number 1 to 3, which are scope, references, and definitions, which are very general. You have to maintain the documented information, and that's all. It's not very much change in it, but the risk and opportunities have been added here. So you have to review the QMS documentation and terminology for consistency, because there are certain new terminologies as being added. So what is a tip from me? That update procedure templates and training materials early, so your team uses the new terms from day one. So that is the tip for the clause from 1 to 3. From the context of the organization perspective, as I mentioned earlier, that the external and internal issues, which was in clause number 4.1, which is not explicitly required you to determine whether climate change is a relevant factor. So if you are in a business where climate change is a factor, for example, if you are in a rubber industry, or you are in an industry, oil and gas, where your processes are impacting the climate, so you have to identify those elements that these are our climate change expected, and you have to declare those items. And also from the interested parties perspective, that you have to identify the expectations with regard to the climate related elements with interested parties. When we talk about interested parties, it comes all like your suppliers, your customers, your owners, your employees, your neighbors. These all are your interested parties. So anyone who is affected by any of your climate change impact of your processes, you need to identify in your interested parties register, and accordingly you have to identify in the scope, which is if it is needed. So that's how you will be in clause number 4.4 in processes. Editorial updates to clarify processes interactions means if any of your processes which are interacted with each other and climate change is coming, you need to identify those things. So what is required? You have to expand the context analysis in the climate change perspective, and you have to revisit your stakeholder analysis to capture evolving expectations. and ensure that QMS scope statement is evidence-based and available as documented information. As I said, it is not required to have a environmental management system as per ISO 14000, but you have to just identify if there is any climate change. And then if it is a major factor, then definitely you have to address it accordingly. In the leadership clause, as I referenced earlier, that in 5.1.1, which is requiring active demonstration of the quality culture and ethical behavior, not just policy approval. Previously, most of the standard, most of the quality manual which I have audited in my experience, in my auditing all over 30 years experience, I have seen most of the leadership commitment and just in the signatures, most of the organization, I will say 90%. But I have seen some 10% of the organization where leadership is practically involved. And that's how the 2026 is asking that they have to be involved. And especially they are mentioning about some ethical behaviors. When we say ethical behaviors, it comes from the positive direction for the employees, even dealing with the customers, dealing with your suppliers. You have to show some ethical uh, business processes, which should be aligned with your quality management system. And some more details you have to identify in your certain procedures that how you uh, basically implementing the ethics within the organization. Customer focus is always being a very important factor in ISO 9001. And in this standard, it is reaffirming that you need to make customer satisfaction a core driver, which means whatever the customer satisfaction analysis is coming, you have to identify those things accordingly. And you have to make changes in your management systems in accordance with your customer behavior. Quality policy must be available rather than merely maintained. It can be available hard copy or soft copy or all to all stakeholders. Ideally, if you are putting it on your website, it's open for all over the world. So what we have to do, you have to engage your senior leaders, visibly championing the quality management system, which means that you have to involve your leadership into the implementation of your quality management system and refresh your quality policy and ensure it is accessible and to employees and external stakeholders, as I said, if you put it on your website. And also, you will have to refresh the quality policy. And you have to link the quality objective with your corporate strategy and demonstrate alignment during the audits as well, because now the auditors will be more interested to see the alignment of your business strategy and your quality objectives both together. In planning part, it's a new clause alert. We can say that it's determining risk and opportunities, which include planning objective and distinct clarifying difference between identifying and acting on risk. Am I audible to all of you? Vagar sir, am I audible? Okay. So, as I mentioned before, that previously the opportunities, okay, previously only the risks were identifying in the previous standard, but now they are emphasizing on business opportunities as well. That what opportunities you have. For example, if you are in a trading business and you are mentioning that okay, fine, we are within the Saudi Arabia, we are working, but if you have a business opportunity outside Saudi Arabia as well, or you have an opportunity to more work on a different business lines as well. So you have to identify those opportunities accordingly. And those opportunities are not only into the vertical element, it can be vertical or horizontal in both the cases. And then you have to plan your changes in accordance with your risk and opportunities and your evaluation of purpose, impact, resources, and effectiveness before any implementing change. So previously, the change management was not part of the quality management system as such, but now they are talking about it. And what you have to do, you have to separate the risk identification from planning of your QMS processes and introduce a structured change management process to meet the 6.3 new requirement, in which you have to have a proper change management system. For example, you are changing a technology. So that technology, whether this change, first of all, somebody has to raise that, okay, fine, we are changing the technology from from the software to AI, for example. And if this technology is changing, somebody has to review it and identify any risk involved in that particular change. So when the change is being observed and all the risk has been analyzed, and see that what is the impact of that particular change. And it should be approved by your top management that fine, there is a change, we are accepting this change, and that change is good for us, there is no risk involved. And if there is a risk involved, it's being properly addressed. And then this change will be implemented in the organization. So that's what the change management is all about, which is a new clause in the ISO 9001 2026. At the same time, you have to ensure that the risk assessment and related plans and appropriate with the integrated into business objectives as well, because previously the objectives were a separate document and risk assessment was a separate document. Now you have to little bit align, and you have to see that what plans are appropriate with that business objectives. In this perspective, whatever your objectives are, in most of the audits which I conducted, whether I conducted API audits or I conducted ISO audits or Aramco audit or NEOM audit, what I have seen that mostly people are just making one document for objective just for the formality purpose, but it is not aligned with their business. But now they are talking about in 2026 that it should be aligned with your business objectives as well. So what will be the process now? That auditor will be having a strategic meeting with the top management, whether in the opening meeting or after the opening meeting. And then they will be looking after those business objectives and see the impact of those business objectives, that how it is being aligned with the quality objectives. So quality managers and other senior managers, you have to look into it. It's a serious matter. We have to see that how the implementation of this clause will be done. In clause 7, support processes, it's mainly involved with HR or training and other support services. The key changes are that all reference to the maintained documented information, which is now read as available as documented information. So awareness is calls for promoting quality culture and ethical behavior. I know every organization, no organization will say that we are not working non-ethically, and all of us are working for some. We have some ethical policies within the organization, and we do work on it. And at the same time, we have seen that government of Saudi Arabia also, and other governments as well, are talking about the ethical behaviors. Most of the time, we are getting some messages as well. So in this new clause of the support processes where the ethical behaviors are being emphasized, we have to have certain policies regarding that. And we have to ensure the competence, evidence, and control documents are accessible and up to date. Because when we hire certain people at certain positions, we do have job descriptions. But how much those job descriptions are being implemented? Are we hiring those people according to those job descriptions? Fine. Sometime we couldn't find that particular person according to the job description, especially with regard to the qualification criteria or competence criteria. If it's not in accordance with that competence criteria, we have to have certain action plans. For example, if a person, we require a person of 10 years of experience, but he's having 8 years of experience, and we require a certain expertise in a certain specific software. For example, he has to work on Microsoft project, but he don't have that experience, but otherwise he is good at it. So we have to have a action plan that within how many months, 2 months, 3 months, he will equip himself with that particular requirement of that particular job. So this is how the competence requirements identified by the organization. This is the beauty of the ISO, that they don't give a specific requirement of the competence, but they say that identify your requirement by yourself. It means that whenever you are hiring a person, you have to identify the competence requirement by your own, whether you are hiring a CEO or you are hiring a simple production floor supervisor. But when you are identifying it, you need to hire it accordingly. If you fail or you couldn't find, you need to have certain action plan. So in that particular perspective, you have to update records and procedures to reflect the revised terminology also, that which is coming in the new standards. Clause number 8 is operations, not much change, but there's a clear support control. Operation planning, that stronger emphasis on managing planned and unplanned changes. Planned changes and unplanned changes are where like preventive maintenance or a breakdown maintenance. So whatever the changes are, you have to have a proper procedure for that. And you have to have a customer communication, but which cover disruption and contingency actions as well, that if for some reason you are not able to provide your product or services on time to a customer, there should be a proper process where you identify those things to your customer that this problem has happened, and there should be a one proper customer communication with that. Great emphasis is given on the externally provided processes, which is in clause number 8.4. Externally provided processes basically regarding your supply chain, your procurement processes, whether you are having your product, your raw material, or any service. So a great emphasis is given on the selection of the suppliers and also the controlling of the supplier with regard to the performance evaluation. Normally, the performance evaluation is being done with regard to your quality of the product or service, delivery, or price sometime as well. So there should be some evaluation on that particular areas. So you have to reassess your supplier, contractors, controls. You have to strengthen your changes in contingency management planning, and also define your documented procedure. So contingency planning is also coming here, that if for some reason some of your supplier is not able to supply the item on time, you have to have a plan B regarding that how you will get, especially with regard to the current situation in the region where we are facing problems with supply chain. This requirement is coming up in a very rigorous way, that we have to have a second option of your suppliers. You should have a plan B or plan C sometime to ensure that your suppliers are able to provide you a required product or services on time. Clause number 9 is about performance evaluation, which is a very important clause, that how you are evaluating your performance and your supplier's performance at the same time. So when you are evaluating your own performances, whether you are conducting it by your internal audit, your management review, your corrective action processes, your customer feedback processes, your internal improvement processes, or your external, all have to be linked with each other in such a way that it should reflect a direction towards your performance evaluation. What I said always, that the biggest room is the room of improvement. So that's how the organization has to work, that wherever you have to have certain areas where you can improve, you have to identify with respect to your objectives, your targets, your audits, your management review, all the things together. So the requirement is that you have to have a clear audit objectives, because in the new standard, the audit process is also required to be a little bit changed, not as overall, but it has to have more clear objectives, a clear audit system effectiveness. It is not just a compliance. We are talking about more improvement part in it. So we have to restructure the management review and the three format and record measurable outcomes, use performance data to drive continual improvement decisions as well, which I already discussed in the data analysis. Last, the objectives. What is the objective of a quality management system? Is the improvement. So the continual improvement, which is explicitly linked to the data and QMS output, that's how the importance of AI is coming. I have seen certain organizations in my few audits in the past few months that companies have developed their management system. Wow. They have made their usage of AI in such a way. If I start with supplier performances or even within the organization as well, they are using AI tool for audits and inspections. I have seen a tool which can be our next presentation, maybe at some other time, where pictures or videos are taken from different areas of your organization, and then the tool is already able to identify that if there is a problem in that particular picture with regard to any QHSE standard, it is identifying. And not only identifying, they are giving red, yellow, green marks with it, that whether it's major or minor. And then even if they are giving you root causes, they are giving you the action plans, they are giving you the risk assessment only with the help of a simple picture or a video. So usage of AI has given a lot of improvement in many organizations. I have just given one example because due to the shortage of time, this topic can be discussed at a later presentation somewhere else. Typical structure is the same: manual, policy, procedure, work instruction, and records. That's all what from my side today. I'm really thank you to all of you. Here is my email and mobile numbers also is showing here. You can note it down for any more clear information. If you require, you can always contact me. But what I suggest here with regard to the new standard, ISO 9001 2026, whoever among you are implementing those standards or in process of those things, you need to be prepared for a new standard with a new concept in 2026. So you have to be ready for that. What I have done within 45 minutes, it's because the time shortage was there. I was not able to explain it in a more detailed manner, but there are a few things which require more clarification, more explanation. But I'm sure that the new standard of the ISO 9001 2026 is taking us to definitely to a new heights of the improvement with regard to the ISO 9000 implementation. Thank you very much to all of you to be here, and I'm available for any question, Mr. Waqar. If we have any questions, we can take those questions as well. Am I audible to all of you? Hello.
Yes. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is Dr. Fakhir. I'm the chairman of the technical seminar committee. I'd like to thank, first of all, Engineer Asim Beg for a very informative seminar. And I'm going to coordinate this last session here, which is the QA session. So I'll start with the first question, okay, which is in 1994 at HMC Taxila, we started to go for ISO 9001, and HMC was the first company in Pakistan to get ISO 9001 certification. My question is that what are the major changes in ISO 9001 2026?
First of all, thank you very much for this question. HMC Texla, I have an honor to be an auditor of this organization. In the year 2021, I audited HMC Texla. I was auditor as an API auditor there. The major changes were identified in my first slide. I will just show you once more. The clause number 4, the context. I think if I will go through with this question in a detail, it will take 10 minutes. What I would request the person who is identifying this question, please keep in touch with me. So what I will be doing, I will be explaining in more detail with him. So that will be more easier thing, because this question, because all my presentation was about the major changes of the ISO 9000. I understand your question, but the major changes, if I talk about, it's in the leadership, where leadership is more to be involved in it, and in the process of they have to take out some AI inception in the ISO 9000. They have to talk about some sustainability things. They have to consider with the risk, they have to identify the opportunities as well. They have to talk about change management processes also. They have to talk about competency of the persons. These are the key changes. But at the same time, please keep in touch. My contact is already written here. So I will be happy to answer that in more detail.
Yeah, this question was actually from Dr. Ejaz Bashir Janjua, okay, and he has several follow-up questions as well, which I'm going to continue here. Okay. So what are the effects on design review and vetting in the new version?
In the design part, there is not so much changes in the new standard. It has remained same that you have to follow the cycle of design input. You have to take the design input from wherever the designs are coming, whether you are making a tank or a missile or anything, or any product. Then you have to go through with the output cycle, then have to review. Then you have to take your design review input and output. Then you have to go through with the verification process. The validation process is the same, that you have to take that product into a real environment and you have to test that particular product. And then you have to take to the final design review as well, from an independent person which is not involved in the design process.
The next question is there any major change in identifying major minor NCR, non-conformance report?
These are the normal things which are always universal. So there is no change in major minor things. Those will remain same.
The next question is, by ethical behavior, do you mean that it was not given priority earlier, but it has now been focused?
Actually, it was not addressed in the standard with the world of ethical behaviors. Definitely, if ISO 9000 committee 196, which is in ISO Geneva, they must have been observed something throughout the world, that there are certain issues which has to be addressed in an ethical manner in quality standard as well. So previously it was not identified in the standard, so now they are specifically identifying and asking for that.
Okay, then do you think it is better to have mapping of various parameters while ISO audit is carried out in an organization?
It's always been a good exercise to map those things. It's not a requirement as such in the standard, but I have seen in several audits and my consultancy projects, those organizations who have adopted this methodology of mapping, it's always been more effective.
Okay, the next question is from Mr. Mohsen Ali. He has said that the ISO 2026 has more emphasis on ethics domain as compared to the last 2015 version. Couldn't get exactly what are the key main differences, especially in documentation for that.
Very good question. In this perspective of ethical behavior, which this question was asked before as well, it means that in your procedures, you have to have a certain additional procedure of your ethical behaviors in case anything comes with regard to the ethics, somebody has to raise their hand. There should be some red flags within the organization, and we have to have certain policies that what should happen if certain issues are identified within or outside the organization.
Okay, then there are a couple of questions from our chairman, which is Dr. Rafiq Chaudhary. He asks, how does risk-based thinking improve the effectiveness of a quality management system?
Very good question. Risk-based thinking is, we can consider that it is a backbone of the quality management system. What I say when I give any consultancy or audit within the organization, I say that the risk, whenever there is, for example, there is a customer complaint. Every customer complaint is a risk that you can lose the business if it is not properly addressed. What I say, every customer complaint, it's an opportunity for you to emphasize and satisfy your customer in a more detailed manner, in such a way that your customer can be intact with you for lifetime. Similarly, if there is any customer return, there is a risk that it can stop your product to sell to that customer. Similarly, if you have any non-conformity in the audit, there is a risk. If it is repeated again, it can hurt you. It can stop your processes even then. If you have any non-conformity from your supplier, it can hurt you as well. So every part, whether it's, I can count like customer complaint, non-conformity within the organization, non-conformity from your supplier, non-conformity from your customer, whether there is any repeated non-conformity, all are risk. So those risk, which is repeating these kind of things, you have to include in your risk register and address it properly. Then only you can improve the effectiveness of your quality management system.
Okay, the next question is, what steps should an organization take to prepare for ISO 9001 certification and to the latest version 2026?
Definitely, after taking this webinar, you have to go through with the changes that I talked about, and you have to see your quality management system. If you need any more information or any other guidance, you can contact me, no problem. Or you can do by yourself as well, by going through with the standard and those changes which are to be implemented in the new standard, you have to reflect in your quality management system. So your whole management system has to be revised now. The old standard will not work. So you need to revise your all quality management system.
The next question is from Mr. Ishtiaq Ahmed. Quality objectives which you have mentioned that shall be aligned with the business strategy. So here the question is that usually quality objectives in construction projects are SMART. That is a specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. So alignment, do you mean to be aligned with the organization business strategy or with the relevant project objectives?
Actually, a very good question from the perspective of our project, actually, because the people who are working on a project, they are normally not aware of the business strategy, what's going on in the head office. So that's how the leadership role will come, that the quality objectives of the project will be, somebody from the head office should look into it in such a way that it should align with their business objective as well. The quality objective of the project should not go in a different direction, and the business strategic direction of the group or a company is going in a different way. So that alignment is required. That's only possible when both the people from the project and the head office will both work together to make such quality objectives.
There's a request basically for a copy of this presentation. Okay, we have recorded it and it will be uploaded on our website.
Yeah.
So you can actually get.
IP team will handle it.
Yeah, so we'll upload it on our website and you can download it from there. Okay, you can access it from our website. Okay, then this question is again from Mr. Ishtiaq Ahmed. It says that
I cannot hear you.
Yeah, just 1 minute, please. Yeah. This is related to it says either with the change of 9001, is it expected to have a change in 19011 as well? I'm not sure what.
Yes, 19011, which is auditing
Yeah.
guideline. Yeah, it is also changing soon.
Okay. Okay. For a civil engineering design firm involved in design of infrastructure, bridges, buildings, dams, highways, okay, etc. Can you please explain how the climate change part of ISO will be addressed by this firm?
Very good question. From a design perspective of an organization, whenever you are having any project, take the example of what we have done. I was involved in various audits and inspections in NEOM projects also, which was an excellent example. Whenever a project was coming at that particular site, there was a requirement from the environmental department of NEOM. Although at that particular time, it was a requirement from NEOM, that's why the companies are doing. But now in ISO 9001 2026, it's the requirement from the standard as well, that whenever you are designing something, you have to consider the environmental impacts. That if a building is coming, where is the building coming? Is it coming in a desert, or is it coming in a city, or is it coming in an area where are certain green area is coming? How this building will impact the environmental conditions of that particular area. So you have to identify those changes which will impact environmental impact on that particular thing. If it's a one-story building or a multi-story building, what will be the impact? What will be the water storage? What will be the impact on the oil or other things as well? How the waste management will be controlled. So these all things have to be addressed in a construction project wherever you are holding, whether it's in a city or it's in a desert or in a new area or wherever it is.
The next question is from Mr. Salman Dawood. Have they removed any existing requirement from 2015 or only added new material to 2026?
There is no requirement has been removed, or what they have done, they have made some of the requirement which were not clearly defined in 2015 standard. They have restated those requirements in such a way that it is more understandable now, and they have basically enhanced certain requirements and added new requirements.
Okay, for the projects executed in accordance with ISO 9000 2015 with tentative completion in 2027, should they be revised if the ISO 9001 2026
very good question.
in the meanwhile? Yeah.
A very good question. Very good question. Actually, there is always be a 3 years transition period, so they can make whatever is coming in the 3 years time period. It will not be disturbed. So 2027 is quite safe, no problem.
Okay. The next one is, how can we upgrade to 2026?
How can we upgrade? I think this question was asked before as well. Simply those changes which are identified in my presentation today, you have to change your policy, your manual, your procedures, everything according to the new requirements, and you have to apply for the 2026 whenever it is coming. Please keep in mind, the standard has not yet come, not being published officially. It will be published by September or December time within 2026.
When will the certificates be ready for this seminar? This is one question for you, Professor. Within a week, we'll provide the certificates through email. Okay, right. When will the organization be required to transition to ISO 9001 2026? When every organization, when will it be forced to adopt 2026?
Yeah, as I mentioned, that the transition period is 3 years, but sooner is good. Whenever it is published, you are open. You can improve it after second day. It can take, but the total time period is normally a 3 years time period of the transition.
As ISO 9001:2026 focuses more on change management, will it handle to help? Will it help to handle the site changes smoothly, or will it add more documentation that may slow down the project progress?
Not really. It's not slow down, but on the other hand, it will improve the management system in such a way that those changes which were I were made in boardrooms only or sometime with certain people, it will be more open. More people will be aware that this change has been made. So, of course, there will be one process will be added here, but it's not so much impact on the documentation part.
Given the ESG frameworks often operated on materiality thresholds, while QMS operates on risk to quality objectives, is there a methodological reconciliation expected, or will organizations end up running two separate taxonomies that don't talk to each other?
I'm also working on sustainability, and I'm an ESG consultant as well. I can understand this question very well, and very good question. Here in the ISO 9001:2026, we should know that it's not a sustainability standard, first of all. It's a quality management system. So what the ISO 9001 is doing, that it is identifying, it's trying to identify those sustainability changes occurrence in the organization, but it's not as a whole ESG model, which is a sustainability standard all about. But it's touching the subject in a way that you have to identify those changes which is impacting the environment. And if is there a major change, you have to give some references that how you will control it. That's all.
Mr. Shahab is asking for a summary of all the points. I don't know if you can summarize in 2 minutes.
It's already summarized. The 20 slides is not just if you poll it, it's like 15 slides only.
So I think we can. Yeah, I think we'll share the recording and we can go through the recording. Okay.
Yes.
And Mr. Farooq is asking for any practical example that is going to be implemented.
I have given a few examples during my presentation with each clause. I don't understand that which particular example he is looking for, but I must say that he has written that which organization he is from.
No.
Maybe like if he's a construction, so I can give a construction example. If it's a manufacturing, so anyhow, in a summarized way.
Yeah, he can get in touch with you if he is specific.
Yeah, please. I think that is more practical. More practical.
Another question for organizations already reporting under ESG frameworks, which is GRI, ISSB 0, CSRD. Is there any expectations that climate-related data feeds, meaning QMS risk registers, inform ESG disclosures and ESG materiality assessment, inform QMS context analysis, or are they still treated as parallel systems?
They will be treated as parallel systems. It's not being fully aligned in a ESG infrastructure. So, as I mentioned in my previous answer to another question, these will be in parallel, in different directions, and different in a parallel way.
How will the new climate change consideration under the context of the organization practically influence audits and documentation?
I mentioned detail when I gave the example of the NEOM that whenever you are implementing any quality management system, whether it's a construction or a manufacturing and oil and gas, you have to consider all your environmental impacts which are coming in during your processes as well, whether it's raw material or it's production or it's your final product. You have to identify the environmental impacts and you have to make a register for that particular thing.
Can you explain how leadership accountability for QMS effectiveness will be measured under the 2026 revision?
Good question. As I mentioned before, that now the new audits, you can expect the auditor in 2026 standard that they will be having a separate meeting with the leadership of the organization to assess the strategic direction of the company, especially to make with alignment with your quality objectives, and also see their involvement in the overall quality management system, that how much they are well aware of their quality management system.
How a new quality engineer become LCA 2026 certified?
Lead auditor, what is LCA or
lead? LCA.
Yeah, there will be after the the official publication of the standard, the changes comes, and then all the training programs will be aligned accordingly. So definitely all the LCA or other auditing and other implementation programs will only be coming when the standard will be officially published.
Does every department have their own certification and activity description? Means that for civil and other, we need to get a specifically, the standard. Or
there are big organizations where the different departments are taking separate certifications, but those organizations are very big organizations. Take the example of Aramco. I have even conducted those audits in Aramco where their rigs operations are separately certified, operationally are certified, operation and maintenance are separately certified. So you can do in any organization as well, and you can exclude certain department from the certification if you want. But mid-size and even big organization, they do all certification in one shot. Huge organization, they do it in this manner. But at the same time, you can do your departmental certification as well.
What's the best way to prepare for preparation of ISO certification?
The best way is the commitment. First of all, you have to be committed to implement the new standard. You have to go through with the standard requirement. If you want to take certain consultants, you should take a consultancy from a specific consultant who can guide you. If you are not, you cannot do it by yourself. And if you can do by yourself, it's okay. And then you have to identify any certification body. We have so many certification bodies within Saudi Arabia, like Bureau Veritas, SGS, Intertac, DNV, Lloyds, so many others. So you can contact them and then they can come and audit you and certify you.
Okay, we are almost running out of time, so we'll just take the last 3 questions now. Okay, right. The next question is, does the new ISO revision encourage the use of AI tools and paperless documentation systems? If yes, what changes should organizations prepare for?
For sure. Since beginning of my presentation, I'm asking that the AI implementation will definitely more help to the organization, whether it's developing of the documents, auditing and inspection of the processes, improvement processes. And we all see that the AI has tremendously improved the effectiveness and the efficiency of the processes.
108.
Okay, what are the risks and opportunities related to your process and how do you control them?
Risk and opportunities are, we have to, anything which is basically an unplanned event which can impact your organization is the risk. And at the same time, any opportunity which is coming into your business in such a way that it can improve your business processes, whether it's in terms of efficiency or in terms of your overall productivity, it's your opportunity. So for both the cases, you have to make 2 registers. risk register separately and the opportunity register separately. And then you have to take certain action plan, risk to mitigate and opportunity to exploit.
Okay, then I'll take this last question. This is from our Vice Chairman, Engineer Mia Abdul Hamid. He asks, due to rapid digitalization of all fields, it is also important to include the cybersecurity aspect in the design, as they have included the environmental requirements in the design. What is your opinion?
Absolutely right. Cybersecurity is much more playing much more important role within the frameworks which we are working these days. Even take the example of this Zoom meeting. I was in a Zoom meeting and I was giving a similar presentation a year back, and our presentation was hacked. And we were in trouble in that presentation, that what is happening. And we had to close out the presentation at that time. So cybersecurity is a must. Whenever even we are receiving an email, we are passing out information on WhatsApp to each other, we are giving messages here and there. Cybersecurity is a must thing. So he's absolutely right. I'm sure about it. And thank you very much for this particular area to identify.
With this, there are a few more questions, but we are almost out of time now. So I apologize for not taking those 3 or 4 remaining questions.
You can do one thing. If it is possible, you can forward that questions with emails to me, or those people can directly contact you, no problem.
Okay. With this, I would like to once again thank all the participants of this webinar, and I would once again like to thank Engineer